Hello everyone, this is F289. You're watching another League of Legends video. Another normal game on Summoner's Rift. I think this was draft pick. You're seeing a game where I played recently. It's kind of a good game, and I'll tell you kind of why during a lonely action. Maybe I'll just pause the replay and explain it to you guys why I chose to cast this particular replay. In part, it was a pretty good game. You're gonna see a lot of good back and forth action. The other part, and I'll just pause it right here, so that way I can talk about starting items and such. I had just been going through a real big slump with League of Legends. I was getting really frustrated with the game. I felt like Matchmaker was out to get me, and at one point there was a game where I ended up on the other team against a Diamond player. Diamond won. Hats off to the guy. He was good. And it was a normal game, and it just absolutely frustrated me because we lost the game really hard. He was playing Vayne, and he just destroyed bot lane so hard, and the game was over, and I felt really frustrated just based on that. So I wrote Riot a support ticket. I said, Riot, basically, I don't like it when your matchmaker pairs me against people that are like 3 to 4 metal colors higher than where my skill level plays. If you guys have watched my play, you know that I'm basically a silver, gold, something, probably silver player. I know I'm definitely not at the diamond level. I was getting really frustrated because it was happening a lot. I was fighting diamonds and plats. And a Riot specialist, Riot Freya the Fae, I hope I'm saying that right, wrote back and was just really encouraging. It didn't read like a copy-paste response. If it was a really good one. And just said that, yeah, my feedback was appreciated, and was just really encouraging and nice about it, and wasn't like, well, you know, tough luck, deal with it. So I really appreciate that, and so Riot Freya the Fae, if you happen to see this one's for you. Alright, let's get into the games, talk about starting items. Pretty much nothing too surprising. On one team, on the, I guess, blue team, we have Vi as the jungler, Rengar will be going top lane, Sona and Caitlyn will be going bot lane, and Ahri will be going mid. Now, for those of you who are sort of familiar with this, you're thinking, well, okay, what's up with their team composition? Their composition is sort of awkward because they really like to catch people out. Rengar, Vi, Ahri, they all thrive on the pick, catching someone out of position, blowing them up instantly, creating situations that are really good like that. Whereas Sona Kate, not quite the same flavor. Caitlyn is more of prefers long fights. So she's not a bursty AD carry like, say, you know, a late game Vayne or a Graves or something, or Ezreal. And Sona is,
30 seconds until
I don't know, she also prefers longer fights. She can cause a lot of havoc with her crescendo, the AoE stun. But Sona really, in my mind, is less of a pick comp team and more of an AoE or poke choice. And even then, she's not the best choice for a poke comp. So that team comp is a little anti-synergistic. On the purple team, the team I'm on, I'm queued up with 4 other people here. All the knights and myself are together. We pretty much have the classic AoE team fight comp. We have an Amumu, Vladimir, Ezreal, Victor, and a Nami. So it has a fair amount of poke in Ezreal Victor. And Nami can poke a little bit too and provide some sustain and disengage. But by and large, our comp is very much AoE focused. Our team composition synergizes a little bit better. As far as lane matchups, Rengar will be up against Vladimir, and Vladimir wisely has chosen to go cloth armor 5 pots, whereas the Rengar, you can tell he's going aggressive because he has this elixir of fortitude. And with the health potions and the ward, that's an aggressive top lane start. Someone say it's a standard top lane start. That's probably true. You see this an awful lot, especially in solo queue. This, you know, ward, elixir, health potions combination. In bot lane, I will say that Sona Caitlyn has a huge advantage. One, their blue side. They don't have to plant as many wards to be safe from river ganks. They can do golems. I don't think they did golems. Okay, they didn't. But also just being Sona Caitlyn, being that pokey, spammable lane. You know, if it comes down to a poke matchup, I would say Sona Kate wins over Nami Ez any day of the week. I think it was Scar who famously said, Scar of course being the mid laner for Team Dignitas, Scar famously said Caitlyn pretty much wins lanes unless, you know, I think he basically said Caitlyn wins lanes. And unless the Caitlyn's majorly outplayed, I tend to agree. I think that there are certain all-in lanes that can do okay against Caitlyn, depending on what her support is. But by and large, Caitlyn is very safe and very good. Ahri against Victor, I would also think this is a slight advantage for the Ahri, just because she's so mobile, she can avoid Victor's Chaos Storm when he ults her with her own ultimate. Obviously, the silence can cause some problems initially. Anyway, we're kind of farming back and forth, poking. It's a very poke-heavy lane. You get basically 2 poke champions. We do a fair amount of damage. Force the exhaust out from the Sona, because I land Aqua Prison. Mumu comes in for a gank mid. Ahri flashes the bandage toss. Doesn't manage to get away. Mumu doesn't realize that Vi is coming in. Vi does a ton of damage. Will pick up a Mumu, and Victor will flash to follow and get some good follow up there. So on the plus side, we've lost double buffs. On the other hand, it ended up in the hands of our mid laner. Rengar taking a lot of harass from Vladimir, not really abusing his ability, his free harass there. Victor really trying to make the double buffs work for him and just really take advantage of that. Dangerously losing tower damage. I don't tell. Direct the camera snapped me away. So they're both very low. You can see the starting items there. Ahri's gone Flask, Pot, Ward, which is another very standard mid start. Whereas the Victor has also gone Flask, Pot. I think he skipped the Ward. Vladimir getting a little foolish there, getting range of the tower. Didn't need to do that. He had the advantage on Rengar, but kind of gave it up. See, and again, on bot lane, both sides are just really harassing back and forth. You see Sona harassing with whatever Sona's Q is called, Hymn of Valor, I think it is, and Power Core. While we harass with Ebb and Flow, Aqua Prison. I do miss the Aqua Prison there, and Caitlyn gets a lot of free damage onto me, which is unfortunate. If I landed the Aqua Prison, I'd probably just turn around. Vladimir comes in. It's going to turn around the gank onto Rengar and Mumu. You see the AoE damage from Mumu just coming in. Rengar gets very low. He drops down. Mumu lands the bandage toss on Vine. We should get her as well. So our jungler, Mumu, paying a lot of attention to top lane. He's doing a really good job there. And they did this because they were able to get away with this because Ahri had backed. She had gone back, and so that said, hey, we can make the power play up top. Meanwhile, down bot lane, it is not going well. You can see the farm lane, the farming levels for the AD carries. Caitlyn's got 30 over 19, so she's substantially ahead. Ezreal blinks in foolishly, eats a ton of damage. We're both quite low on mana and health. We're trying to keep Ezreal sustained, but Ebb and Flow just is not as efficient as gosh, what is Sona's called? Sona. Aria of Perseverance. I play as Sona, I should know this. I was actually going to pick Sona as soon as I saw we were going for the AoE comp, but they were ahead of me in pick order and picked Sona first. Which is fine. I mean, Nami is fairly well suited to this as well. Obviously not as well as Sona, but you see the wards coming down from both mid laners. Our mid lane and jungle was concerned about getting invaded with a defensive ward here, whereas Ahri is placing a more offensive ward to kind of spot when the jungle's coming in from race to gank her. Although with her ultimate having access to it soon, she should be okay. Taking some damage there from Victor. He's still got those double buffs. He's hit level 6 first. In part because of that kill he got. You see our Vladimir's now doing quite well. Both junglers kind of ignoring bot lane for the moment. It's a little bit too isolated. They're pushed up really far, and Mumu doesn't have access to his ultimate yet, so it's not really a gankable lane for Mumu. We were just trying to keep the turret alive. They're doing a good job of pressuring it. Missing the Aqua Prison. Surprisingly hard skill shot to land. Interesting trivia about Aqua Prison. No matter how far you are away from Nami, the Aqua Prison will always take the same time to land. So the travel time for the bubble is the exact same at point blank range before it lands. I should say the travel time isn't, but the detonation is the same no matter how far Nami is away. So I think whatever it's like 1 point something seconds, max range to min range doesn't matter. Unlike, say, I don't know, Resolute Smite, Galio's Resolute Smite, which the closer you are to the target, the less time it takes to go off. Interesting how Riot chose that. See again, Vladimir up here, he's gotten ahead. Vladimir is one of those champions that if he gets ahead, he pretty much stays ahead. Ahri going in very deep onto Victor, gets away from Chaos Storm, kind of a fizzle ultimate there. Amumu comes in for the counter yank, and nothing really comes of it. Victor's now out of mana. He's lost his double buff, so he's gonna back off there. Again, the Vladimir and the Rengar are just going back and forth. You see Vladimir has gotten ahead. He's pretty much gonna stay ahead too. There's a lot of damage. Rengar stealth slows ultimate to get away and heals off of it, so he'll be fine. But this will allow Vladimir to put a lot of pressure on the turret. Down bot, again, it's just Caitlyn's Sona shoving the wave over and over again. I have his force back. I land the Aqua Prison. The Ed wasn't quite ready to go in. Sona had Crescendo, and I didn't have Tidal Wave. So, not a good choice to go in right there. Ezreal wisely did not go in. And again, we're just trying to trade back and forth and keep the minion waves off. We really want to keep the wave pushed right about here, as opposed to up on the turret. This is close enough that if they dive us, it's really hard for them to come in. But again, Caitlyn just shoving that wave really hard. Neither of the junglers are really making their presence known. So, with just in general, the easier time that Blue has shoving this wave up, they don't have to drop one ward to defend right there. They're pushing us out. We can't really push out too far. Part of it's just because, again, they have Caitlyn, and that range advantage is really good in these sort of pressure situations. Instead, Amumu counters mid. He had Victor flash in, pick up the kill on Vi. She should have known better. That was an easy pickup. Wasn't even hard. She's way behind now. Vi's one of those champions. If she gets ahead, she just snowballs the game. But if she gets behind like she is right now, 1-3-0, only 47 CS, she's gonna be in a lot of trouble. And Vladimir's also taking the top turret. So our kind of strategy is we weren't actually on Skype this time. I mean, we weren't really on Skype. Was to basically snowball the other two lanes and sort of deal with bot. Bot was also the factor in the sense that he wasn't part of our party, so we weren't trying to really win it out really hard. We didn't know how good the Ezreal was going to be, so we weren't investing a lot of resources into it. Some would say that because the Ezreal wasn't in our party, we should have devoted more time to it. That's not really my call to make. We were just going to survive as best as we could. As you can see, it's 1-4 right now. Our team has about a 2.5k gold advantage. 2 turrets down and head 3 kills, which is quite nice. This bot tower is going to fall very soon. It's only got, goodness, 500 health left. So we're putting on damage, but again, just Caitlyn's poke is superior with her 650 range, and Sona also has more damage than Annie, basically. And of course, Ebb and Flow being less efficient than our Perseverance, like I said, is just leading them shoving this bot lane over and over again. Right now, we have no jungle pressure due to the jungler focusing on other lanes, so we don't have, basically we're losing the lane. Some of that's matchup, some of that's just they're landing more poke spells. Jungle evade here. Amumu misses the bandage toss as he and Victor swoop in. Vi looks like she wants to fight, but it's a fight she'll lose. Victor, you can see the level advantages. Victor's a level ahead, so he has a max spell. Ahri lands the charm on Amumu, but that's not really the target she wants. Tons of damage goes off, and Ahri unwisely goes back in. That's not really a good choice. She's forced to flash out. If Amumu lands the bandage toss, they'll go in. Unfortunately, we've been forced to back off. So this is I feel this is kind of a mistake, especially with the teleport Rengar coming in. They do land a slow kill, but it doesn't mean anything. Now the Sona converges, lands a beautiful crescendo, and they pick off Victor and Amumu. And again, Sona and Caitlyn were free to do that because they took the tower, forced us back. We tried to hold on for as long as we can, but at 11 minutes down, 11 minutes is pretty hard. So that allows them to recover. They narrow the goal lead to under 1,000. Very good for Blue. Having the top lane teleport in was also a nice touch. It helped really keep that collapse in. And you can see Vladimir just taking the advantage of being ahead. Staying ahead, goes in very hard on Ahri. We'll drop her down. That should kill her. And it does. The ultimate Evo Plague and picking on her finishes that off. So good solo kill from Vladimir. Now one mistake that he kind of makes here is that we had called in chat to go for an early will to Ancient since we're running a double AP strategy. You've got Vladimir top, Victor mid, and he ends up buying Death Cap. Sort of a combination of either Death Cap or this cloth armor can be turned into a Zhonya's first. So kind of a build mishap there. You won't really see that in higher elo plays, but all in all, it's first world problems right there. See Amumu just coming up, farming it out. He's doing pretty well for himself. One thing that this particular player does is he likes to build more offensive. In this case, he's got the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, which does have that lowered smite cooldown. We got a bit of a blue invade here. We're going to come in and evade the blue buff. We're pretty confident in our chances. We know Vi's behind We've got 4 people here. We don't know. We saw Sona pass over this board, so we know Sona isn't there. Which is really we know Caitlyn isn't there, so it's no Caitlyn invade for us because we're without Crescendo. Without Crescendo, the Vi is not doing terribly well. The Rengar is not doing terribly well. The Ahri isn't even doing that well. In return, we're going to trade their blue buff for a dragon, so they're going to come over here and take dragon, which is a good play. They're going to counter. And instead of trying to walk all the way back over the map, we're going to counter dragon. We've got a great trail of wards that lead from here, so from the dragon to their turret, so we'll take their inner turret. We give up dragon, which does give them a little bit more of a gold, I guess. But we do get the turret out of that, and we still have a blue buff. So, I personally would say that for a double AP comp, especially against Ahri, having 2 blue buffs, one for Mumu and one for Victor, and the turret is better for us. I feel like they don't do horribly by doing the dragon. Like, that's not a terrible trade for them. Now, if we can get this bottom turret, which is virtually unscathed, that'll be a nice pickup as well. Talking about the items real fast, you see both junglers going kind of offensive. Spirit of Spectral Wraith for Mumu and Lizard Elder for Vi. And the top lanes, again, going very offensive. This will be a very heavy defense-oriented, or sorry, offense-oriented game, not defense. See, getting a 4-man push, shoving mid real hard. We know this turret's low. We know it's down to 800 health. So we're going to push it up. We catch them out of position. Sona and Rengar nowhere near. We do land the Curse of Sad Mummy. Do a lot of damage. Miss out on the awkward prison. I get exploded as Rengar and Sona converges. Sona lands a pretty good crescendo. Mumu goes back in, but he doesn't have the Curse of the Sad Mummy up. We already blew that. So they're going to quickly follow us up. Ezreal didn't converge, and now it's a 5-on-2, which will not end well. Our mistake there was that all our wards on this side timed out, and so I had turret aggro, got caught by Rengar and Sona. We do take the inner turret, and Ezreal will clean up the spot pretty easily, but we'll lose that team fight pretty hard. And they're going to narrow the gold lead to about 700 gold. Part of that was I was out of wards and didn't have that side covered, and part of it was just they played that really well. And we kind of blew Curse the Sad Mummy a little too early on Ahri, who's maybe not the best champion to try and burn a big cooldown like that just to try and pick her off. I do believe they pick off this turret. It should be a problem, I think, for mid. So now the turret lead, they get their second turret of the game, which would be nice. Ezreal should be able to finish up the spot, and he will. Talk about items real fast. You see, going back to items, but we said both junglers and top laners were building sort of offensively. And Mumu is building into an Aegis. Sona is really far ahead. She's gotten 3 of the kills, so she has an Aegis already. And a Chalice of Harmony. She skipped the gold pretend, which I don't understand. I don't know why you'd go Chalice over Philosopher's Stone on Sona. If someone wants to leave me a comment and say why this is better, please let me know. Right now we have great vision over Baron, so we just come up and do it. We see that they were bot. We're able to pull it off. We see that 2 people are bot. We guess that they don't have vision, so we're going to come up and force this Baron. Ezreal's in here. We don't care. We're going to get very low doing it. We don't have a lot of damage. But they're nowhere near. They have no idea. We have enough ward coverage to tell. Oh, they're not coming. At this point, this should probably have clued them in, like, hey, something's wrong. That should have definitely clued them in something is wrong. And Mumu goes this time's out a little bit too. He's a little bit too aggressive, but we do get Baron on 4 people. And we're all extremely hurt, so we're gonna have to back off now. But they're not in any position to counter that. So this is a mistake you pretty much won't see in high elo. If you watch the LCS streams, if you watch, like, I don't know, whoever your favorite pro player is, Scara, Snoopy, Froggen, Reginald, I don't know, Double Lift. No one makes this mistake of sneaking Baron. The high elo teams, the professional teams, they're all good enough to not let that happen. But someone's going to come up here and be like, oh snap, Baron's gone, you know, poop. They already probably figured that out by the execute, but now we take Baron, and it gives us a pretty nice advantage at 17 minutes, and that's a very early Baron, by the way. Can finally talk about items. As far as the carries are going, you can see that Caitlyn and Ezreal, Ezreal actually managed to catch up the farm. In the farm, Caitlyn almost has the Infinity Edge completely worked. Ezreal does have that Bloodthirster and the Berserker's Greaves. And even though Caitlyn has an assist, I believe Ezreal has more gold. Yeah, he does by about 400 because of the globals, because of the turret advantage, the Baron. I believe we've gotten the dragon too. Maybe we're even on dragons. Honestly, I'm not keeping very good track of dragon. Again, talking about the mid laners, Victor and Ahri are about even. I think Ahri's a little bit behind Victor. She's about a dozen CS behind, and is down some items. Both of them have a needle large rod. The difference is Victor's got the sword too. Victor's ult, if you stand in Victor's ult, it does a crap ton of damage. And again, they're kind of recalling Rengar's out of position. Vi's not ready. We go in. The ult goes off. Double ult. Sona barely has Crescendo, but she's been triple ulted. She gets taken down. We get like 23 bonus on her. Rengar moves in. Gets exploded. People are getting very, very low. Slow the fight down a little bit. Now we've got Vi isolated. Ahri and Caitlyn are too hurt to really go back in. Vi does finish off Vladimir. Ezreal moves in, takes down the Ahri, and now this should be a pretty easy cleanup for us. Ezreal will flash away, takes a lot of damage, so is that barrier. Vi and Caitlyn are pursuing. This is very close. We both have the Baron, but it's a very close thing, and we don't want to risk it. So Caitlyn throws that over. We almost get Vi. She gets very, very low. I missed the Aqua Prism, wondering if she'll go in. Caitlyn comes back in. It should be a pretty easy cleanup for us. Full coordination there. So we do pick that up. It was a bit of a risky dive. I mean, we dove really hard to get Ahri and Sona. We did get them both. But Ahri lasted long enough. Again, she's got those triple dashes. Spirit Rush makes her pretty obnoxious. So even with a Baron, that was just barely enough of an advantage. We come out with one kill over them. We don't quite get the turret either. It was a little bit too low. Rengar was coming back. Again, with this very early Baron, this very early pressure we're putting on them, we don't have the same sort of items like the Amumu is sort of behind. He doesn't have a super heavy tank item to facilitate his dive. He doesn't have a giant spell, or a locket or a completed Aegis. He's behind. Even Vi, who's doing pretty poorly, doesn't have the kind of gold she needs to just dive in. She's just now getting her giant spell. That'll probably be built into a frozen mallet. I'd be surprised if it was a Sunfire Cave. And I'd be even more surprised if it was a random Zoman. Rengar is now switching over to building tanky. He's building a Spirit Visage, which is a very good choice given that he's got free healing. And working against a double AP comp with an Amumu Junker. I mean, our team is very heavily stacked towards that magic damage, except for Ezreal, who's got, of course, a Bloodthirster and a Static Shift now. 3-0-1 Ezreal doing very well for himself. Caitlyn just now picked up the Infinity Edge and has a Vamp Scepter. I think in a straight-up fight, Ezreal would just completely destroy her. Caitlyn has a slight farm advantage, but that shouldn't matter. Now it's our turn to pick up the dragon. This one again is should be pretty much free. They come in, but look at that Aqua Prism. You see an Aqua Prism, Chemo Plague, Tidal Wave. This is the danger of fighting an AoE comp when you're clustered up like this. This is ridiculously bad for them. Sona lands or Crescendo, doesn't even matter. From the other side, you can see Rengar and Ahri and Vi trying to flank in. The Moon was not even there. He's running over as fast as he can. Our Vladimir goes a little bit too deep, gets picked up. We do get Caitlyn though. And Vladimir just barely gets away again to another Aqua Prism. So landing 2 Aqua Prisms in a row really helped out our team fighting potential. And Moon is still coming in. This time we have a bit of a miscommunication because Vladimir's going back. We're on the wrong side of the map. And Amumu will dive in super hard, expecting us to fall over. And really coordinated. Blows Curse to 7 money basically for nothing. I missed the Aqua Prism. Doesn't quite go off. Now we're in position. Victor comes in. Ezreal comes in doing a lot of damage. I flash over to follow, and we pick up more kills. So basically we killed 4 of their team. Vi's the only one who gets away and lost Amumu. We still picked the dragon. It was still a phenomenal fight for us. At this point, Ezreal does something particularly ill-advised. Goes in. I can't really follow him. I can tank the turret shots for a little bit, which I do. I even land the Aqua Prism on Caitlyn, but with Sona there, I had to get out or die. Caitlyn will pick up that kill. So a little bit too ballsy there, especially without the rest of us. We should have just pushed the creep wave off and gone for the turret. So Ezreal a little bit too aggressive there. He's now 5-1-1. Sona and Caitlyn very low, but of course not quite there. The gold advantage now 5k in favor of us. That's the turrets, dragons, barons really coming in to play there. And Vladimir's just going back and forth trying to do damage. But with Ahri coming back, we'll signal a retreat. Victor's low on mana, and Crescendo might not be up. Actually, it is up, so we definitely don't want to be around there. So we'll fall back at this point. This was really a prolonged dragon fight, and because the Mumu and the Ezreal kind of went too deep or didn't coordinate with the rest of the team, we ended up basically trading 2 for 4 and a dragon, which is still a good trade for us, just not quite as good as it could have been. You can see that Mumu has now finished his Aegis, whereas Sona's also finished for Aegis. So the Aura items are more or less even. I know if you watch the LCS, the casters love to talk about Aura items, especially Jet. If you listen to Jet loves Aura items, and I love Aura items too. Knowing that our jungler is already picking Aegis, I'm not rushing an Aegis, which is otherwise what I would get on Nami. I'm instead going for Lock of Iron Solari, just to provide that shield. See, Sona is about the same item. She does have a side stone now. Both supports picking up the side stone for extra wards. Yeah, not much to say. Gold advantage about 4k in our favor, and we're pushing it now. We see Caitlyn's down bot. We think, oh, let's go down bot. We'll see what we can do. There is a ward here, and I believe it sees us, so they should know we're coming. We clear out top lane and come down and collapse down bot. Amumu does land the banish toss, but Caitlyn gets out of it. Vladimir gets taken very low. She dodges the Aqua Prison. Ezreal's meanwhile back here, getting chased down by Rengar. I throw down the tidal wave to get rid of him, and we realize maybe this isn't the fight we want. Amumu goes in, lands a great banish or curse to money, but we're not there. Vi taken very, very low. Continues to chase. Now I'm in the lead. We do lose Amumu. He gets blown up. A beautiful gravity trap there. Locks up Rengar. He takes a ton of damage. And the Chaos Storm just ticking away, burning away at everyone's health. This is the AoE team count coming in. See, Ahri and Stone are taken very low. Caitlyn, Vi, everyone's extremely low. The Chaos Storm lands one more tick. Victor will get the kill. Now Caitlyn taking a lot of damage. Forced to flash back. Ezreal somehow managed to survive. Vladimir somehow managed to survive despite basically getting burned down. Caitlyn does get a good shot there on Victor, drops him down. Ezreal goes very, very deep. He'll drop down, and the Aqua Prison will lock down Vi, but not long enough. He doesn't get rid of Vladimir. So, unfortunately, I don't really have damage to push in. That was a very chaotic team fight. You'll see 4-3. They narrowly won that and narrowed the goal lead a little bit. Part of it was our Ezreal got brought down way too low. He got way too much damage from Rengar, and I had to tidal wave a single person, Rengar. Other thing was Amumu went very, very deep, locked everyone up, and we were all in retreat. So, again, some miscommunication there. Obviously, we're not fully in sync. We still are enjoying that gold lead, and the Baron is up, but they're not in position to do anything about it. They're too hurt, and this is kind of a mistake there with them. Let me speed the replay back up. Sorry. They've not really gone back as soon as they won the team fight to prep for Baron. So part of that maybe they don't know the timer on Baron, and we do. I do have that Lock of the Iron Solar now. We do pick up the Will of the Ancient, so it'll help our double AP comp, and we have the Runic Bulwark, which maybe not the best buy given that most of their team is physical damage. I mean, they have Ahri, and she's not doing that great. She doesn't even have a completed death cap yet. So maybe not the Runic Bulwark. I personally would not have prioritized Runic Bulwark against this team. For Amumu, I would have prioritized maybe grabbing a giant spell to help him survive that dive, or possibly something with armor and CDR, maybe a Sunfire Cape. Start working on Sunfire Cape anyway. Now the blue team is moving towards Baron. Both teams actually converging towards Baron. Vladimir is on his way. We've got most of our ultimates up except for Two-Shot Barrage. Ezra just fired that to help clear a wave. Chaos Storm, Curse of That Money, Plague. We need to stall out and wait for these to come up. On blue side, they've got all their ultimates available, so definitely not a timing fight we want to avoid, but we do have the vision enough to see where they're coming from. We've got excellent vision. Both sides really do. Which is going to make this kind of difficult for either Baron at this point. So we kind of back off from Baron. We're not really eager to go to that. We do see the Rengar over there, thanks to that ward. Ezreal keeps tipping off Rengar that we know he's there by shooting Mystic shots, and I finally tell him to stop because that's really stupid. But he's not been doing terrible otherwise. Yeah, if you see where someone is and you want to catch him out, don't fire random low damage skill shots like Mystic shot or volley. Wait for your initiator to make a play and catch that. But really, we would prefer not to blow a lot of spells on Rengar, especially since he can sort of stealth and run away. We would rather catch a lot of the team up and curse the ceremony and explode their team that way. Both of our lanes are getting pushed. We've got bot and top pushing, so we're going to send Victor over this way to deal with it. Probably not the best choice. I think I recommend that we have Ezreal ult this instead of sending Victor in case they make a play for Baron. They are still down about 3k gold, but the game is not that. It's not terribly one-sided. Vladimir does a lot of damage, but Caitlyn also hurts quite hard. She's got Infinity Edge and the Blade of the Ruin King now, so 2 finish items for her. Ezreal's yet to finish the Triforce. And now, this is the part where Caitlyn probably takes some unnecessary damage. Kind of forced back. She's going to lifesteal that back and heal up with Arya Perseverance. But maybe some unnecessary damage there. You know, when you're Caitlyn, you have a Mumu and a Vladimir diving, and you gotta be close careful. Mumu just barely misses the banish toss. If he had gotten that onto Sona, we would have immediately gone in. We would have had Curses that money, tidal wave, Mumu Plague stacked up. That's really what we want. We want their team stacked up. We do see Rengar there, but again, Ezreal tips it off. You know, if he hadn't done that, Mumu lands the banish toss. We land like an Aqua Prison or something and finish him off that way. Instead, Ezreal tips him off. So, you know, range carries. It's cute that you know where the guy is, but don't let the tanks. If you're going through a pick, let the tanks fire your skill shots. Don't waste it on something stupid like Mystic Shot. Unless you're Ashe, in which case, if he was Ashe, that would have been a great skill shot. Fire skill shot. I suppose Varus has that same potential. And again, our side lanes are continuing to push, so we're going to have to deal with this. Can't just ignore it. You can see the vision from blue team very heavily stacked around Baron. The vision from purple team very also heavily stacked around Baron. Most of our wards are on Baron. Dragon does come up, and they collapse on Dragon pretty readily. We don't really have vision on that side of the map. In fact, we just give up the Dragon. We do sort of see it as it's happening, but we're like, oh, you know, balls. Forgot to ward up Dragon. Forgot to really keep control of that. And it's just, again, we're not a coordinated team. Our jungler isn't. We're not on Skype communicating. And we didn't have a good time around the Dragon. So you can place the blame all around for that. Didn't have that secured. So definitely a mistake there. Caitlyn now decides to grab an Oracle. It's an unusual buy from AD carry. Normally that's more of a support item, but I guess you realize that they needed that map control. We make our way down to Dragon. I don't know why. We should have known it was gone. I honestly don't know. I guess we just didn't have the time. By now completing her Warmog's armor, so she can sort of dive in now with a Warmog's armor and a Hexdraker with Mark Treads. That's the basis of what you need to dive in. Meanwhile, Mumu building upgraded boots, so he's tired of being the slow, sad mummy. Again, both teams sort of gravitating towards Baron. This at 29 minutes, this is the major objective. We did have that early Baron. Before now, we know we've got this massive side wave pushing. So we're gonna do what you see a lot of pro teams do in LCS, which is force the enemy team to send someone down to deal with this. They do have a teleport Rengar. It is up. But basically, they're going to have to send someone to deal with this. And if it's anyone but Rengar, we're going to go in and either force Baron or force a 4v5. Instead, Victor gets completely caught out there. He throws the tidal wave. It catches everyone. You see the Curse of Mummy come in also. Aqua Prison misses, but Victor's completely down. Beautiful crescendo. It catches all 4 of our surviving team members. And just a massive amount of damage coming out on both sides. Vladimir's taking a lot of damage right now, and Mumu just throwing himself on the front line, trying to zone out the other team so that Ezreal can get his damage down. We're focusing on Vi, trying to get her down. She's taken very low. We do finally get her. Now I'm backing off. Oh, we're going to retreat. Sona just barely getting away. And now this time we switch our focus. Not quite sure who to focus on. We should be going for Caitlyn. We do get Rengar, and now we're going to close on Caitlyn. Sona's completely zoned out. She can't do anything. The Aqua Prison again misses. Caitlyn makes a mistake here. Uses her ultimate. Don't use your ultimate, guys. In close range fights, auto attack. Vladimir takes a lot of damage. Caitlyn does bring him down, gets enough life to survive. But we'll finish off Sona as well. So we'll get the ace here. And Ezreal and I will both stay alive. We're quite hurt, but hey, we got the ace. So let's go down, finish off that turret that we had almost picked off earlier. This is kind of a mirror of our early fight that we do clean up. And again, I think maybe some slightly more efficient build choices by Mumu might have let him last a little bit longer. And of course, if we'd had Victor for most of that fight instead of him getting completely exploded, that would have been better. Both ultimates, this quarter, very devastating for both. The crescendo, like that was a fantastic crescendo. It hit all 4 of us. And tidal wave and curse of 7 money did a lot of damage. But we do have the exposed inhibitor down. I believe we very narrowly won that fight in the sense that it was 3-4, and we also got a turret. So good pickup for us. We do steal the blue buff, which is good because Ahri with blue buff, super obnoxious. She's not. Ahri does not innately itemize mana. Like some mages, of course, you know, your Karthus, your Nivea, Kassadin, they will itemize lots and lots of mana. But they, you know, Ahri is not one of those champions. So I feel like a lot of mages right now either itemize lots of mana and get like a Rod of Aegis and a Seraphs or whatever, or they barely itemize mana at all. Lux, who builds like a single item. Maybe I think it's almost Holy Grail, or maybe that Royal Nominon. Or they try not to itemize mana at all. Rengar jumps out on Victor and Ahri joins him. Again, another case of catching Victor. He does manage to get his ult off. Takes a lot of damage. The tidal wave completely misses, and Victor getting caught there is just super important. He is building glass cannon. And just a good pick from their team that's going to stall us out. We have increased our gold lead somewhat to 4K, but just really can't do anything with it right now. We see Caitlyn is down bot. And now I've bought Oracles. I'm clearing out Baron. We were going to make a Baron push before Rengar picked out Victor. So a lot of damage goes down. Again, we're just putting that Iceborne Gauntlet on Ezreal to work. And with the static shiv, it's a lot more poke damage as if Ezreal's poke wasn't strong enough. We do show the good wave towards the middle inhibitor. I laid down that ward there. But knowing that we're still waiting on Victor, we decided to back off. Thinking, oh, our sidelines are pushing, we should clear out the rest of the wards. So that's what I do. I bring the oracles around, drop some vision down. We want to do Baron. We think we can take them in a team fight. We'd like a repeat of the last fight without Victor getting blown up super fast. And I see they're coming in on me. Like, oh, they're coming in. This is bad. But disengage successfully. They don't have an oracle anymore. None of their team has it unless Caitlyn still has hers. No, she does not. So we have a potential for better vision control of Baron. I believe our team fight comp is considerably stronger. All depends on how well Sona lands those crescendos and Vi uses her assault and battery. You know, their team again really focuses on picking somebody off, but Ezreal is one of the best champions to avoid picking people off. You can see at 727, Bloodthirster, Iceborne Gauntlets, and Static Shiv. He's pretty much avoided being picked off for the most part. Of course, Caitlyn not too shabby in her own respect. 646, Last Whisper, Blade of the Ruined King, and Infinity Edge doing quite well for herself also. I believe the gold between these two champions is pretty even. Ezreal's ahead by about 1,000, which at this late in the game doesn't matter. You know, 1,000 gold at 20 minutes, huge difference. 1,000 gold at 30 minutes, not as much. Gold lead has narrowed to about 2K. You'll see Amumu just go straight in, trying to get by. We're not sure exactly who to pick off. We don't really want to blow a big AoE CC on just Vi. Misses the Banish Toss, will pursue Sona, and I guess a miscommunication from their team because we don't know where exactly to, we don't know where they're going, but it's not the right spot. Take some damage. Victor and I head back this way. Ahri and Vi come in. I throw down the static tidal wave, and the gravity trap goes down. They do get Victor. We now are focusing very heavily on Vi, where they're trying to get out and dive Ezreal. I take the ace in the hole for Ezreal, and a beautiful, beautiful first step money. Crescendo's pretty good too, but puts Sona way off position. She gets locked up. Vladimir goes down now, but now we're mostly alive and they're mostly dead. Another Aqua Prison locks down Vi, and while I back off, Amumu and Ezreal duel out Ahri and Caitlyn. I land the Aqua Prison again. That should have been a signal for Ezreal to go in. He chooses not to, takes a lot of damage. I barely keep him alive with Evan's Glow. And that was a very confused brawl that left 3 of them dead, 2 of us dead, and everyone with blinking low health bars. So we're going to kind of back off, breathe a little bit, and say, okay, that was close. Let's see if we can do some things to make that a little bit better, and you know, win a more decisive fight. I did pick up Reverie, so now I have Reverie and Locket. Whereas Sona has that Runic Bulwark. Again, a good choice for them, given that we've got a double AP comp. She also has her cooldown boots going. Sona's been investing pretty heavily in the pink wards. I admittedly haven't. I did invest in Oracles, and I still have it, which will give us time to clear out Baron. We did get the turret down here, so 4 for 3 and a turret. Sounds a little bit better than 4 for 3, and you know, no other objective. And both teams just still sort of doing that Baron dance. We got Victor coming in reclaiming his blue buff. Their blue buff is not up yet. And the gold advantage increased a little bit for us. We got about 5K, but it's still like not untenable if they pick the right people off. Could have been a lot better. That fight was a lot more chaotic because Sona came in from the back and launched Crescendo, rather than rather than being with the team. We're going to start at Baron. We've cleared the wards out. They have no vision of Baron. We saw that Caitlyn was down here. So we figure, hey, we can just go for Baron. Look at the vision. They have... I don't believe they have any clues what's going on. Yeah, they don't. So we'll get pretty much a free Baron. And that's going to give us a nice advantage, especially with this exposed inhibitor. Amun will go in. He'll land a beautiful Curse of 7 money. Again, someone just gets instantly exploded and get a chance to ult. Vi gets dropped very, very low. Ezreal goes after her. We're not really interested in chasing Vi by and large. We'd rather get, you know, their threats down. Ezreal does land that. She's trying to get away, but we're interested in pushing turrets. So we're going to force this turret. We've already picked off their support, so we don't have to worry about Crescendo now. She will have it when she comes back. But right now, we just really want to do as much damage as we can to her. It'd be nice if Ezreal was here as chasing Vi. He'll chase her like halfway across the map and pick her off. Victor gets dropped very low. Ahri's doing a lot of damage, but catches her with a bandage toss. We'll gladly trade a movement for the rest of their team. And that's exactly what we do. I pick up a couple kills there. We pick up the turret. This is basically going to lead to 2 free inhibitors. It would have been nice if Ezreal was here. But again, Caitlyn's up, Sunda's about to be up, but that's about it. We're not too afraid of just Caitlyn and Soda, even with their crescendo. Victor gets off very low. Vladimir and Caitlyn dueling. I dropped both of my activatables, but the crescendo goes off, locks everyone up. We do Zhonya's to get out of there. I throw down the tidal wave to kind of slow down the push. Ezreal does a lot of damage. Now we focus on Caitlyn. I land the Aqua Prison. That's a primitive dead Caitlyn. Gets picked off there by Vlad and Ezreal. Ezreal aggressively flashes forward, gets the ace, and so this is going to be game. So the 37 minutes post-game, I thought, lots of back and forth, a lot of positional things. There were some mistakes, obviously. Pause the game real fast. But overall, I thought it was a good back and forth game. You'll see that the gold disparity between the laners is pretty substantial. You see that Vi is about 1,000 gold behind Amumu. Rengar is about 3,000 gold behind Vladimir, and that's a huge disparity that they never really recovered from. Sona and I had more gold than Sona by about 1,500, and honestly that let me get 2 activatable items, the Locket and the Reverie, whereas Sona just has the Aegis. So that advantage in gold, it didn't really come in until the very end, but I did have those items. Another thing that I did, I thought I was a little bit more efficient with my wards, and maybe the term efficient isn't right. Maybe it's didn't plant enough wards, because I wasn't spending tons of money on pinks constantly. I bought 1 oracles, didn't go to waste. As far as the carries, you can see that Ezreal and Caitlyn very close, 261 and 252 CS. Ezreal way more effective in team fights, and partly because Aramumu, yes, he died a lot, but he also took a lot of the pressure off. So did Vladimir and Victor. They took a lot of damage, so Ezreal and I could stay alive. I just sort of stayed in the back and did my thing. Tried to land some Aqua Prisons. You saw I landed some of them, and some of them were really clutch, like that one on Caitlyn there, and some of them I completely missed. You know, the gold disparity between Ezreal and Caitlyn is significant. Those 12 kills and plus all the global gold from turrets really adds up. And of course the mid laners, can't forget about them. Ahri about 2.5k behind Victor, and it showed. She didn't really roam much. She was pretty well constrained to fight pretty much in mid lane. There were some fights in the jungle, but she didn't really get a chance to roam much. And give Victor credit for making it work. You don't see a lot of Victors, but he's about 25 to 30 CS ahead of Ahri. Plus again all that global gold. That kind of shows he's got his augment. Basically they both have death cap. Ahri has a Will of the Ancients, while Victor with Athene's Unholy Grail, he also has his augment in death and upgraded boots that are now enchanted as well. Ahri can never quite, you see, like at 40 minutes you really expect your mid laner to have over 200 CS. You see most of our solo laners had over 200 creep score. Again, this is not platinum levels play, so you're not going to expect to see, you know, 300 CS by 40 minutes, which is what you'll see if you watch LCS, you watch someone like Double Lift or Zuna or any of those other guys go to town. But again, a huge amount of gold concentrated in the AD carries, and as a result, you know, the AD carry that can stay alive and keep doing damage. The Ezreal was, by and large, very aggressive when he was with us, and it showed. And our team was able to sort of be that distraction for him, pump out lots of damage from Vladimir and Victor and Amumu. Like, you look at this Amumu and say, oh, 9 of 19, he didn't do very well. No, the Amumu, by and large, did fantastic. There were a couple opportunities where he dove a little too hard. We didn't communicate with him. That one fight over here, where he was kind of all by himself when we were on the other side of the wall or still coming around. We didn't communicate that well. By and large, he soaked up a ton of aggression and let Ezreal and Vladimir and Victor do work. So again, I just wanted to VOD this game. I wanted to VOD it as sort of a saying, hey, this was a great game. You know, it was fun to play. It was very rewarding. I felt our team coordinated well by and large. Had a few mistakes, but nothing game throwing. I played well, which is nice. And you know, both myself, I looked at the Ezreal afterwards. Both he and I are unranked, and their bot lane, I think the Caitlyn was platinum and the Sona was gold. Still sort of disappointed they stole Sona from me. I was going to play Sona. Crescendo would have gone so nice with everything else that we had in our team comp, but oh well.